Against all odds, and in the face of a system designed to crush hope, he pursued and ultimately achieved a dream that once seemed impossible: equality for all South Africans. Born on July 18, 1918, in the small rural village of Mvezo in the Eastern Cape of South Africa, Nelson Mandela entered the world during an era marked by colonial domination and deep racial segregation. His father, a respected tribal chief of the Thembu people, bestowed upon him the name Rolihala, a Xhosa term that loosely translates to pulling the branch of a tree, or more colloquially, troublemaker. It was a name that, in time, would foreshadow the remarkable defiance he would come to embody. When Nelson was just 7 years old, he began his formal education at a local missionary school, a path shaped by British colonial influence. It was here that his teacher, following the custom of the time, assigned him the name Nelson, a name easier for English tongues but far removed from the rich cultural heritage he was born into. Following the death of his father, Mandela was sent to live with the acting regent of the Thembu people, Chief Jongintaba Dalandeabo. This man, a close friend of Mandela's late father, saw potential in the young boy and took it upon himself to raise him as a future leader. Jongintaba allowed Nelson to attend tribal council meetings, exposing him at an early age to the art of leadership, the complexities of governance, and the values of justice and diplomacy. He ensured Mandela received a top-tier education, enrolling him in elite mission schools and eventually the University College of Fort Hare, one of the very few institutions of higher learning available to Black South Africans at the time. However, Mandela's life took a pivotal turn in 1941. During a break from college, he made the bold decision to flee to Johannesburg to avoid an arranged marriage that had been orchestrated by the regent. It was in the bustling city of Johannesburg that Mandela first came face to face with the harsh, dehumanizing realities of apartheid, a system of legalized racial segregation that governed every aspect of life in South Africa. Living under the shadow of oppression, Mandela experienced what it meant to be Black in a society ruthlessly divided by race. In the anonymity of city life, he witnessed firsthand the daily indignities suffered by Black South Africans. Limited mobility, unjust laws, curfews, forced removals, and the complete lack of political representation. These experiences deeply influenced his political awakening. Mandela even early on carried with him two languages. One, the deep, resonant voice of his ancestral heritage and cultural upbringing, and two, the modern, incisive language of the law, a product of his formal education and legal training. These two voices fused within him, giving rise to a unique and powerful articulation of human rights that would later define his movement. As the oppressive machinery of apartheid grew more entrenched, Mandela's political consciousness continued to evolve. He began attending meetings of the African National Congress, ANC, an organization founded in 1912, with the vision of establishing a democratic and inclusive South African society. It was during this time that he married Evelyn Mace, his first wife, and together they started a family. In 1948, the National Party came to power, and apartheid officially became state policy. The new regime rolled out a series of draconian laws aimed at further marginalizing the non-white population. In response, the ANC adopted a strategy of nonviolent civil disobedience. In 1952, they launched the Defiance Campaign, a nationwide effort to challenge unjust laws through peaceful protest. Mandela became the campaign's national volunteer-in-chief, traveling across the country to mobilize support and encourage resistance. This increased visibility did not go unnoticed by the authorities. The government, now deeply wary of Mandela's growing influence, began restricting his movement, banning him from gatherings and confining him to Johannesburg. Despite these limitations, Mandela and his colleague Oliver Tambo co-founded South Africa's first Black law firm, Their practice provided low-cost legal defense to black South Africans charged under apartheid laws, offering a rare avenue for justice in a biased legal system. Then came 1956. In a sweeping crackdown, Mandela and 150 other political activists were arrested and charged with treason. The trial dragged on for years, during which Mandela's relentless devotion to the cause took a heavy toll on his personal life. His marriage to Evelyn crumbled, and they eventually separated. Yet even as the storm of repression raged around him, Mandela's spirit remained unbroken. During this time, he met Winnie Madikizela, a young, politically active social worker with a fierce determination that matched his own. The two married in 1958 and became a powerful symbol of resistance to the apartheid regime. In 1960, tragedy struck at Sharpeville, where police opened fire on peaceful protesters, killing 69 people and injuring over 180 more, many of them women and children. This massacre was a turning point for Mandela. He came to believe that peaceful protest alone was not enough. In the aftermath, the ANC was banned and Mandela went underground. Determined to continue the struggle, Mandela co-founded Untold, or Spear of the Nation, the armed wing of the ANC. He traveled secretly outside South Africa, seeking international support and military training. Upon returning, he was arrested once again, this time for inciting workers to strike and leaving the country without permission. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison. But the state wasn't finished with him. While serving his sentence, Mandela was further charged with sabotage and conspiracy to overthrow the government. At the Rivonia trial, he delivered a powerful speech, refusing to plead for mercy and refusing to legitimize a racist judiciary. He was sentenced to life in prison and sent to Robben Island, a barren, windswept outpost 7 miles off the coast of Cape Town. Many believed he would be forgotten, but instead, Mandela became an international symbol of the anti-apartheid movement. His name, his face, and his message ignited a global call for justice. Across continents, people marched, protested, and demanded his release. During the 1980s, the South African government offered Mandela several opportunities for conditional release, on the basis that he renounce armed struggle. Each time, he refused. His integrity and unwavering commitment only deepened his legend. Then, in February 1990, a seismic shift occurred. The government lifted the ban on the ANC and announced that Mandela would be released. After 27 years behind bars, the world watched in awe as a 71-year-old Mandela emerged from prison, walking hand in hand with Winnie, finally free. He was immediately named the head of the ANC, and in 1993, Mandela, alongside then-President F.W. de Klerk, was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for their joint efforts in dismantling apartheid. The following year, in 1994, South Africa held its first multiracial democratic elections. For the first time in over 3 centuries, the black majority had a say in choosing their leaders. Nelson Mandela, at the age of 75, was elected president in a landslide victory. His presidency was more than political. It was symbolic. The very image of Mandela, a former prisoner now leading the very nation that had once tried to silence him, sent a message of hope to oppressed people everywhere. It was a moment many thought would never come. A black man at the helm of a country built on racial supremacy. As president, Mandela proved himself a masterful statesman. He knew when to stand firm and when to extend a hand in reconciliation. His vision for a united South Africa was grounded not in revenge, but in forgiveness and healing. However, not all parts of his life followed this upward trajectory. His marriage to Winnie, strained by years of separation and political tension, ended in divorce in 1996. In 1998, Mandela married for a third time, this time to Graça Machel. On his 80th birthday, the union symbolized a new chapter in his life. A year later, he stepped down as president, having served only 1 term. believing in the value of democratic succession and leadership renewal. Even in retirement, Mandela remained active. He lent his moral authority to global peace efforts, including helping mediate the civil war in Burundi. He became a vocal advocate for AIDS awareness and continued his lifelong commitment to justice and equality. Today, Nelson Mandela stands as a towering figure in the history of human rights, a living testament to the power of perseverance, courage, and moral clarity. He is remembered not just as a political leader, but as a symbol of how one person, armed with conviction and resilience, can alter the course of history